Nintendo, together with the Pokemon Company, filed a patent infringement lawsuit in the Tokyo District Court against Pocketpair on September 18th, 2024. This lawsuit seeks an injunction against infringement and compensation for damages on the grounds that Palworld, a game developed and released by the defendant, infringes multiple patent rights. Nintendo will continue to take necessary actions against any infringements of its intellectual property rights, including the Nintendo brand itself, to protect the intellectual properties it has worked hard for to establish over the years. So the first—
This is like the most petty shit ever. This is so petty.
First thing to make clear here is that Nintendo is suing specifically for patent infringement and not copyright infringement. What that means is that they aren't suing Palworld because, let's say, the Palworld creatures look awfully similar to Pokemon creatures.
They definitely would. They definitely would sue them for that if they could, though. I bet you they would.
When it first got popular, this was a big point of discussion, with many people even theorizing that some pals were directly ripping Pokemon models and then being slightly altered for their game. Now, even if we think that's true, that isn't what this lawsuit is about. And trust me, if Nintendo could sue for that, they would. Absolutely. If they had even the tiniest shred of evidence that Pocketpair stole and ripped off Pokemon character models, they would sue them into oblivion. And you know what? That would be reasonable. You can't steal code or directly rip someone.
That's understandable, yeah. I mean, like, if someone's ripping directly from your models, that makes sense why you would sue them, right? But if the characters kind of just happen to look alike, then I mean, there's that, you know, there's not really, you can't do much with that. But if they're directly ripping it, it's one thing, but if their characters look similar, then yeah. But the thing is, Pokemon chat cannot, if the models weren't ripped but the characters just happen to look like Pokemon, they wouldn't be able to, they would, morally it wouldn't make sense, because Pokemon took a lot of designs from another thing. I don't remember what it was called. It was inspired by someone else. Do you guys remember? Do you guys remember which thing Pokemon got their stuff from? Because I don't remember what it was, but
it's assets for
Dragon
your own
Quest.
IP.
It was Dragon
I mean,
Quest.
you can do that, but you can't do it without expecting consequences. But again, that's not what's happening here. Looking fairly similar isn't enough, which is exactly why Nintendo hasn't sued for copyright infringement. No, they are suing for infringements on patents related to Pokemon, or in other words, they're suing because they believe there are mechanics, systems, or features from Pokemon games that Nintendo has patented and claim ownership of that are similar to the ones being used in Palworld. Now, at this point, you might be asking yourself, can you patent game mechanics and systems? Yes, you can. It's about as stupid as it sounds. It is one of the most frustrating things to me in this industry, because you will get these games with really cool ideas or features, hats off to the people who make them, but then no one else can use them for 20 years, all thanks to patents. It stifles creativity, it stifles the evolution of genres, and legitimately holds back game development. It just
think about it, chat. Just think about it. A game could have some type of action in the game. There could be some type of action in the game that a developer can patent, right? And they can make it so no other game uses it, but then also get really lazy with their own game. Get really lazy and probably not even use much of their own action. I mean, of course, Pokemon's gonna use the throwing the balls action, right? Obviously, right? But like, imagine what that can do to gaming. That's crazy. That's scary. That's so
just
scary.
Makes gaming as a whole worse. We get worse games because of these patents, or we don't get games that are as good as they could be. Without question, we have seen less innovation and growth in games in this hobby all due to patents. Here's a few examples, some well-known things off the top of my mind. Not really, I've written them down, but okay. So the first one that particularly pisses me off is Warner Brothers' patent for the Nemesis system from Shadow of Mordor. If you don't know, in that game, you would regularly come in conflict with these unique named enemies over and over again. So you would fight someone with the name, I don't know, Gorthar the Destroyer. And then whatever the outcome of the fight, whether you won, whether you lost, whether you...
His name is weak. Mine is Pussy Slayer 3000.
Ran away. Eventually, later on in the game, you could bump into them again. And in that next encounter, Gorthar would remember what happened and comment on what occurred, saying something like, hey, you're gonna run away from me again? And then on top of that, though, they would evolve, getting stronger or weaker, climbing up in the ranks or being demoted, all based on what occurred in your previous fight with them. And this would keep happening over and over and over again, getting more layers, deeper interaction and history between the characters, and then these Nemesis creatures fighting other characters and then getting stuff based on that. It was just a super cool system, a lot of fun to engage with, and it added a whole heck of a lot of drama and personality to what would otherwise just be fighting forgettable mini-bosses or elites in many other games. This Nemesis system was
Sunny, thank you for the follow, sweets.
so awesome. Myself and a lot of people really, really liked it. However, it hasn't been used in any other game franchise since. Not because it wasn't good, but because Warner Brothers had patented it. So unless they happen to make another game that uses the Nemesis system, which they have not beyond the Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor games, we are not going to see any other game that has it until their patent runs out in 2035. Yeah.
That's freaking ridiculous, chat. And they're not even using the patent. Put out another game. They haven't put out another game. That's so lazy. That's so lazy. That's so lazy. You know what? We're gonna claim that that's ours and never use it ever. Oh my gosh, imagine, guys, I'm so scared because if Nintendo wins this lawsuit, this could very potentially destroy. It could potentially destroy our gaming system. Yeah.
Yes, we've got another 11 years of waiting. Actually, I don't even know if a game can start development using that system until after the patent runs out. So in which case, we might be waiting until 2040 before we see another game that has a Nemesis-like system. Thanks a lot, Warner Brothers. Really appreciate it. And what is so frustrating about this, like I said, is that it really stifles growth and innovation in gaming. Because yes, the Nemesis system was amazing. Like, hats off to the Shadow of Mordor developer Monolith. They made a phenomenal system that really elevated the open world experience.
But then they never use it. What's the point of you making it and then using it for one, patenting it and using it for one game? Spite claims twerk and no one can twerk until 2034. Exactly. I'm gonna patent it so no other VTuber can twerk, just me. just me, and that's it. It's a wrap for everyone. Yeah, Warner Brothers wastes money on garbage like Suicide Squad and Kill the Justice League. Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Yeah. These companies that do this can suck it. I'm wondering if they win, if people are going to boycott Nintendo. I'm curious. I'm curious.
It just made it so much more interesting coming across these difficult encounters, these Nemesis, and having these layers and depth and history and backstory just based.
Oh, so thank you for correcting me. It's the Monolith made the system. Warner Brothers patented it. And the devs themselves wouldn't, the devs did not patent it. Okay, that makes, thank you for correcting me, I appreciate it.
Based on what you did with them in the game, it was so cool. But now it's been 10 years since the initial release of Shadow of Mordor, and in an alternate timeline, we could have had many other games using even better, more evolved, and improved versions of that system. In fact, I'll just say it plainly, many open world games would have been better, without question, if they could have implemented some variation of the Nemesis system. But they didn't, because in this timeline, in reality, thanks to Warner Bros. Patent, it hasn't and it will not happen for at least another 11 years. Now,
so shitty. Don Cabarnadas, thank you so much for the 7 months. Well, good morning, Spite. Happy 7 months. Thank you, baby. Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
I will add a note here. With patents like this, we could technically see other games use these things, but in actuality, it never happens because if another game developer wanted to have something like that in their game, they would have to pay Warner Bros. A licensing fee, and that fee would likely cost a ton of money. So as a result, they just don't bother. And that's the thing. The result is we don't get to play any more games with the Nemesis system until after 2035, or if Warner Bros. Eventually gets around to making more games with it. I think they have a Wonder Woman game that's supposedly going to be implementing it, I believe, if I'm recalling correctly. We've only had 2 in the past decade, and we could have had a whole lot more. And if you haven't played the game, you might not fully understand, but this is, I think, a perfect example of a patent stifling the industry. Open world games having the inclusion of Nemesis systems would add a lot more to so many games that are out there right now. And that one's really personal to me for that reason, because I played Shadow of Mordor and was blown away by the system when I first encountered it. And at the time I thought, wow, this is a great mechanic. Open world games are going to be so much better and evolving and improving on this in the future. But nope, that's not what happened. There's plenty of other patents that I feel have held back gaming as well. Another good example is the Bandai Namco patent on loading screen mini games. So for a lot of years, loading screens were a pretty big issue, something we had to deal with, especially back in the 90s. You would often have these games with loading screens that took a full minute or even multiple minutes of waiting before you could get back to playing. For the most part, this just meant staring at a progress bar, maybe getting some concept art, some tips on the screen. Usually it meant going up to get a drink or go to the bathroom. But then in 1995, Bandai Namco, they had this great idea. What if they offered mini games that you could play while you waited for the main game to load? And that was pretty cool. They did this with their game Ridge Racer as well as Tekken 5.
No wonder we have literally never had oh my god. We have never had wait, that's been patented? I thought it just got phased out. I guess it's been patented. I mean, nowadays, you know, like you said, we don't really do like the whole loading screens that take forever, you know? So I guess that's really not like a thing, but that's so poopy.
Those are 2 most notable ones. Unfortunately, though, they also patented this idea of what they called auxiliary games while waiting for the main game, and so we never saw it again. This patent did happen to expire in 2015, but by that point, most games no longer had multi-minute loading screens, so there wasn't much use case for it any longer. But there was an entire 20-year period where it would have been awesome to have mini games in our loading screens for many different games beyond Bandai Namco ones, but we didn't, thanks to Bandai Namco's patent. Here's a few others quickly. BioWare had a patent of the dialogue wheel with the cardinal directions of a wheel representing certain sentiments or regular responses. Sega's patent of the arrow over vehicle navigation system from Crazy Taxi, which Sega then used.
The arrow? Okay, first off, I know I know I can't drive well, right? But at least this would have been really helpful for my directionally challenged ass. This would have been very helpful for my directionally challenged self.
To sue Fox over, as they had a similar mechanic in the Simpsons driving game. Katamari has a patent for its
we know you can't drive well either. How dare you?
That picks up other objects in the environment, growing ever bigger in the process. If you wondered why we never saw more games like it, it's because of the patent. Bloober Team had a patent for playing in 2 alternate versions of the same space simultaneously on a split screen, which is a mechanic they used in the game The Medium. And then Nintendo.
That would have been so cool in other games. Oh my gosh. That would have been so cool in other games, chat. The split screen.
Also even had the sanity system patent all the way back for Eternal Darkness, although that one was evidently specific enough that many other games have released with similar systems, but not exactly the same. But back to Nintendo suing
At least
Pocketpair
Katamari
over
made
Palworld.
more.
Let's dive into that a little further. So right now we don't actually know exactly, and apparently Pocketpair, they don't know either, exactly which patents Nintendo are suing for. They have said that there are multiple patents being infringed upon, but haven't clarified exactly what ones. Now, Nintendo has quite a few Pokemon-related patents listed. Broadly speaking, these things cover the following: throwing a ball to capture weakened creatures and then throwing that ball again after capture to release them under your control.
Let's throw squares instead. We're throwing cubes. Imagine if Palworld just came back out with, all right, you wanna make it so that I can't throw a ball? We're throwing cubes now.
Summoning and riding a creature you've captured via the aforementioned ball system, actively swapping mounts while riding them, storing captured creatures inside of a ball and or a terminal-like system. And how about this one? Encouraging healthy sleeping habits by tending to captured creatures in their game. I am not joking. They have a patent for encouraging healthy sleeping habits. Now, those are the dumbed down, simplified explanations of these patents. In fact,
I'm blaming my insomnia on Pokemon now. Really? You can't even take care of your... Oh my gosh, chat. So basically, they don't want us to take care of our pals. They don't want that. My pal is gonna end up like my Neopet that's been dead for like... for like 7 years. For like 10 years. Despite its literal jaw drop.
Fact is that every single one of these has very specific language with fine details on exactly how those systems are implemented. With minutia like exactly how is a ball thrown that captures a creature? How many shakes does the ball do in an attempt to capture said creature? The specific method of riding and swapping your captured creatures, and what specific ways does the game promote healthy sleeping habits? So for example, in the patent that they have for, quote, the gamification of health awareness based on wake up time, it reads like this. An object is to provide a user with motivation to enjoy waking up in the morning and guide the user to sufficient awakening by generating a breeding event in a breeding game of a virtual life form when the user wakes up in the morning, and it goes on from there. But yes, broadly speaking, that list of things.
I like how they thought that was important. They thought the sleep mechanic was important. I mean, you know, I'm not an advocate or a supporter of what they're doing with the throwing the Pokeballs thing, but it makes a little bit more sense of why the sleeping mechanic.
Some of the stuff that Nintendo has Pokemon patents for.
Can't even sleep without getting sued.
They have many more patents pertinent specifically to Pokemon. Now, as of now, we just don't know which combinations of these patents Nintendo is claiming have been infringed. And as I mentioned, Palworld developer Pocketpair, they don't know either. According to them, they've not yet been told. They actually released an official statement via Twitter in regards to the suit, and it says, regarding the lawsuit, yesterday a lawsuit was filed against our company for patent infringement. We have received notice of this lawsuit and will begin the appropriate legal proceedings and investigations into the claims of patent infringement. At this moment, we are unaware of the specific patents we are accused of infringing upon, and we have not yet been notified of such details. Pocketpair is a small indie game company based in Tokyo. Our goal as a company has always been to create fun games. We will continue to pursue this goal because we know that our games bring joy to millions of gamers around the world. Palworld was a surprise success this year, both for gamers and for us. We were blown away by the amazing response to the game and have been working hard to make it even better for our fans. We will continue improving Palworld and strive to create a game that our fans can be proud of. It is truly unfortunate that we will be forced to allocate significant time and matters unrelated to game development due to this lawsuit. However, we will do our utmost for our fans and to ensure that indie game developers are not hindered or discouraged from pursuing their creative ideas. We apologize to our fans. As always, thank you. It goes on. And that
I really like, you know, I like that Palworld put out that message, but I really like indie games because indie games, they put in work. They make the games interesting. You know, we're talking about Pokemon. I grew up with Pokemon. I've loved Pokemon. I played Pokemon games. My favorite games were I liked Ruby. I liked Pokemon Coliseum. Crystal was really good, right? But then, you know, recently in the past few years that I've been a streamer, there have been some games that Pokemon has put out that just kind of seemed a little lazy to me. One being like Arceus. I really did not like that one. I really did not. It just kind of turned into like I know the whole point is to throw the ball, capture the Pokemon, but it was just that. It was just that. Even the story was very basic to me, chat. I I don't know. I didn't care for it. Personally, that was me. I personally, I didn't care for that game. But there's been, I feel like Pokemon has gotten lazy compared to the games that I used to play when I was younger, that I used to love with Pokemon. I used to get really excited for new Pokemon games. And I've thought of like really cool, interesting ideas for Pokemon games before. I've thought of a thing where they do like a little like these are just ideas. If you guys don't like those ideas, that's fine. I understand. But I have thought of the idea of maybe like a life sim, similar a little bit to like what Palworld did, but a little bit more, where you get to build like areas for your Pokemon, and you build your own house, and you have like, it's almost like a farming simulator. What is it called? Like a farming simulator, but not really, because you still go and do quests, and you still go and you fight the gym leaders, but you get to come back to your base and build your base up. I actually thought of the idea of what Palworld was doing, because they have that similar thing where you like build, you have your Pokemon help you build. Yeah, like a Pokemon Stardew Valley. Isn't that Palworld? It's close. Yeah, it's pretty much. I kind of wanted like a little bit more details, but yeah, like Pokemon Crossing. I thought that would have been a really cool idea. I remember in one of the Pokemon games that I played when I was younger, there was you got to put your Pokemon in pageants, and I thought that was super cool. I loved that. It was unique. I remember that. What was that? Was that one Ruby? I don't remember which one that was. Also, I loved Pokemon. That was Diamond and Pearl. Macalorate said, despite old, if you consider me being in my 20s old, then I guess I'm old then. I guess I'm old. I played a lot of my older brother's video games growing up, and my siblings, who are 10 years older than me. So whatever games they had, I played growing up, and it was very fun. Yeah, apparently I'm granny because I'm in my 20s, chat. Apparently I'm an old woman. Yeah, I don't know. There was like pageants in one of the games. Yeah, Shu just put out a video about hag maxing. I guess I'm a hag in my 20s. Yeah. Yeah, no, I liked Pokemon Coliseum because the story was so unique. And I remember so much from that game. So, I don't feel like the stories of Pokemon have like hit the same. I kind of enjoyed Sword and Shield. I did enjoy that. But I still think they could have lately they could have been doing a lot better.
Last bit is, I think, really the rub. It's so frustrating on so many levels. In terms of this lawsuit and the potential outcome, right? Well, if they don't settle out of court, odds are Pocketpair will be required to make adjustments to whatever systems or mechanics are found to infringe upon Nintendo's patents. And then after that, they will probably also have to pay some sort of fee or fine to Nintendo. Either way, Nintendo is going to cost Pocketpair.
And guys, being in your 30s is not old. If there are any people in your 30s in my chat, you are not old. You're not old. Yeah, apparently being in your 20s is hags maxing. Oh my goodness. Yeah, being in your 30s isn't old either. All right. So don't take that person's comment as anyone being old.
Good chunk of money, whether that's just the cost of having to go through a lawsuit, even if they are found not guilty of infringement, or if they are found guilty of infringement, having to then pay Nintendo directly. The game is not going to shut down. Well, I guess it could if Nintendo bleeds Pocketpair dry enough of money that they go out of business, in which case, yeah, the game could probably shut down. And all of this in the name of some flippin' patents on game mechanics. Honestly, this entire situation it's crap. Unless
is
Nintendo
crap.
has like some proof that Pocketpair stole and copy-pasted source code from Pokemon games to use in Palworld, if that's the case, I totally understand. But the idea that they're suing the devs because the games have similar mechanics like capturing monsters in a ball or incentivizing healthy sleeping habits, like it's all garbage, man. Patents over basic game mechanics and systems are dumb, and they shouldn't be a thing as far as I'm concerned. I am no legal expert.
No.
This is completely out of my depth, but just the basis of it is so frustrating to me. And I also want to make it clear, I am in full support of companies protecting their brand and protecting their IP. If someone is straight ripping Pokemon code, changing the colors and slapping a new name on the game, that's one thing. But putting patents on ideas for systems and features, it's just bad. It sucks now. It's always sucked.
I completely agree. Completely.
Especially when it comes to this point where we are seeing lawsuits. It is bad for game developers, and it's bad for us, the gamers. This stifles creativity. It prevents more games from not just having similar systems, but then improving on them, adding to them, and making better games as a result. And Nintendo coming out and suing Pocketpair, this is the kind of show of force that will likely prevent other developers from trying to make games that are similar in that monster cap.
Hold on. I'm not saying we should boycott, but you know, this is just we're hitting dangerous territory, okay? We're hitting dangerous territory.
Indie devs, they don't want to risk getting sued by Nintendo. Like, are you kidding me? So the end result is many won't bother. They won't try.
Cavemen patented sex, so no sex for anyone now. Yeah, I see that thing rising over there. Put it down. None for you. None for you. None for you.
To make a game that innovates and expands upon.
Doggy Vtuber starts gaming revolution. More at 6.
Pokemon's shortcomings. They'll just do something else entirely. Now, I do realize as well, there's still a lot we don't know, and there's definitely, without question, a lot of nuance here. Other monster capture games do in fact exist that Nintendo hasn't sued for patent infringement, and we don't know yet.
But I wonder why. Probably because they didn't pop off. They didn't pop off like Palworld did.
Exactly what Nintendo is suing for. They haven't specified. We see their patents. We know they're suing because they think multiple patents have been infringed. They just haven't said what ones. So the patents that have been infringed upon, how they were infringed, exactly how closely are Palworld's mechanics similar to that of Pokemon's, all of that will come out during the process of this lawsuit, assuming it all goes public. Even still though, like the Nintendo story specifics aside, generally speaking, I dislike this practice and what it does to gaming. The Warner Bros. Patent.
See, you're violating my Greek mythology. God damn it. God damn it. I have to stop being a Cerberus, chat. Jesus Christ. Jesus. You know what? I'm just gonna my say goodbye to Chaos and Riot forever. They're gone. They're gone. Where are my puppies, by the way? Oh, wait, because I brought them out. I brought these out. Gone. Chaos and Riot. Goodbye. They will never take your Cerberosi away.
On the Nemesis system is the one that tilts me in particular. I think a lot of my vigor in this video is like suppressed anger over that. The fact that more games don't have. Every open world game should have a Nemesis system, and they would all be better because of it. It's a blanket statement.
No,
but
you have
honestly,
every
man,
right
it just
to be
tilts me
passionate
so much. It was so damn cool, and they've made pretty much zero use of it over this past decade, all because they have a patent. They're not making other games, and no one else can do it either. So I guess we'll just get to experience games with Nemesis systems sometime after 2035. If I'm still alive, looking forward to it. I just hate it so much, dude. I hate this so much, honestly. It makes gaming worse. No, thank you. All right, that's all for today. Thank you for watching.
It does make it worse. No, it's ridiculously bad. Ghostly, thank you so much for the follow. I just think it's crazy that instead of Pokemon being like, hey, you know what? Let me start making my games better to deal with the competition. Pokemon was like, you know what? I'm just gonna step on the competition. Like, no, Pokemon, make your games as good as how they used to be. Like, you know, I love Pokemon. I've always loved Pokemon. All right, let's make sure we state that really quick. I loved Pokemon. My favorite Pokemon is Charizard and Umbreon, and I love them. Okay? You know, I almost yeeted my nephew out the window because he decided that he asked me if I knew Pokemon. Like, are you serious? Like, if Palworld, if they were ripping models, I would be like, okay, Pokemon has every right to be pissed, right? But, you know, maybe people wouldn't have cared as much for Palworld if Pokemon had put out games that like really hit for us in the past years. You know? Like there have been some games that Pokemon has put out that I've been like, okay, this is like, you know, it's kind of fun. But they're not unique like they used to be. Pokemon games used to be unique. Like they used to have different mechanics for different games. Now it's just throw a ball. Throw a ball and have the basic, I've been isekai'd into this world. I don't know who I am. And I need to go fight a gym leader. Basic storyline with basic ball throwing. With basic characters that have undeveloped, you know, personalities. There have been some characters that I really enjoy in some of the new games though. Like I did enjoy Pokemon Sword and Shield's gym leaders. They hit. I actually really liked them. They hit. You know, Team Rocket rehashes. Yeah. I think Pokemon needs to take a page from the Zelda team books. It take a year or two to clean up their games and add interesting stuff and make the game great instead of shitting out half-assed games every year. Yeah, it's because they know people are gonna buy their games no matter what because it's Pokemon. These big companies are putting out, they're being lazy because they know people are gonna buy their games because the name Pokemon is connected with it. And that's the truth.